State University won the toss, and they elected to defend the south goal. And Michigan will receive. The wind blowing here today is mainly from the west, although entering the stadium it appears to be favoring the team coming from the south. So in this first quarter of play, Ohio State will be getting some benefit from that wind. And as they were teeing the ball up on the 40, the ball picked up a gust of wind and blew off. It could be they're going to have to hold that ball on the tee. The boy doing the kick, a junior from Lakewood, and he already has 7 field goals to his credit this year. They're going to be holding it. We're just about ready to go. As Funk comes up, he's going to adjust that ball a little bit now. Back in the deep spots for Michigan, standing just shy of the goal line. On the far side is Jim Detweiler, and the near side, Carl Ward. We're situated on the western side of the field here. As the wind continues to blow, the referee goes down with a hand, and we're underway. The opening kick is a spinning one, taken over on the far side by Farabee, comes back to the 30, and is spilled on about the 32-yard line. 3 Ohio State tacklers getting off that pile. The kicker, Bob Funk, along with Bill Ryder, making the stop. A 10-yard run back that time, as it was a spinning kick off to the right, and they put it in play. First and 10 to go for Michigan on the 31-yard line of the Wolverines. Michigan and Ohio State fighting for the Big Ten title of 1964. Ben Farabee in at the tight end now, going to the right in motion to the right and jumping offside on that left side was Michigan. Could be the case there as Michigan penalized 5 yards for offside. That moves him back to the 26. Again in motion to the right comes Detweiler. Timberlake turns and gives off to Anthony. He's got a slide hole over the middle of the line. It closes in a hurry as he picks up about 2 up to the 28-yard line. We'll have to wait till they place it down there. Making the tackle, first of all, for Ohio State was their big boy on the left side, Ed Orizon. He's 6 foot, 228 pounds, a senior from Euclid, Ohio. A pickup of about 2 on that play. Second and 13 for the Wolverines. As they put it down now just over the 27. In motion to the right comes Detweiler. Henderson's the split right end. Timberlake rolling off to the right, going back to pass, fires it upfield. Henderson grabs it on the 38, gets away from one man, still on his feet to the 40, and he's tackled down just over the 40-yard line by John Phil, a sophomore from Cuyahoga Heights. As Timberlake that time had the motion going to the right, through to his split end, John Henderson, who was to the right, cut down to the 39, grabbed it, and went over the 40. Third down and about a yard shy of the first down. This time again, Henderson is split wide to the right. Straight tee in the backfield for the Wolverines. Timberlake turns, gives off to Anthony. He bucks his way up. It's going to be close to the first down, but it looks like he might be a little bit shy there. First upending for Ohio State was Tom Bugle, the 200-pound junior from West Homestead, Pennsylvania. We're going to get a measurement here now. As the ball was advanced very close to the 41, they had to go just over the 41 for the first down. Chains are placed down. Let's see, they're giving it a good look. It's first down for the Wolverines. First and 10, the Wolverines put it in play. This time Henderson again is split out wide to the right. Timberlake turns, fakes to Anthony, starts to run up himself into the line of scrimmage, and up shy of the 45-yard line as he spun over the hole on the right side that time. Making the stop for Ohio, leading it was Jerry Kasunik, 224-pounder from Cleveland. At the guards, the linebackers, Kelly and Dreffer. In motion to the left goes Ward. A long count by Timberlake this time. Rolling to the left. Going wide around the left side. Gonna run. Cuts into the 45. Over midfield and into Ohio State territory on the 49-yard line. Getting off that pile, first of all, Bill Spar, the defensive left end of the Buckeyes. And again, we're about a yard shy of the first down. Into the lineup for Ohio State now. At a defensive end position comes Jim Nine, a sophomore. Straight tee in the backfield. This time for the Wolverines. Timberlake puts his head down and drives, going for the first down. Looked as though his forward progress was up to about the 47, and that'll be enough for the first down. Chuck?
This may be no surprise that Timberlake carried the ball in to our fans back in Ann Arbor who have seen the Wolverines play. The fact is that Timberlake uses Brian Patchen to just blast open the middle of that line and follows him right up in there and usually gets 2 yards.
Placed down just short of the Ohio State 47. In motion to the right comes Detweiler, and jumping over the line there was the defensive right tackle of Ohio State, but I believe a motion was made by Chuck Kynes on that side to draw him offside, and the penalty will be going against Michigan. Looked like Kynes off and about a count fast there, Chuck Collins.
Yes, the thing was he was going to pull to his right. He's pulled to his right, and he stopped, but the fact that he made the motion allowed the Ohio State man to come across and hit him, which in the referee's eyes is offside because we drew them off.
And that puts the Wolverines back, 1st and 15, back in Michigan territory now. At about the 47, and motion to the right comes Detweiler. Timberlake again on the long count, this time going back. He's going to pass, fires it upfield for Henderson, thrown just a little bit short, and John couldn't get to it up on the Ohio State 43-yard line. Covering John back there that time was Arnie Chonko, fine safety man for Ohio State. This year, Chonko has picked off 4 interceptions in the Big Ten. They play the deep slot for Ohio State. He's a senior this year, 6'2", 204 from Parma, Ohio, and a very fine baseball player also. The ball just shy of their 48-yard line. Patching over the ball at center for Michigan. The straight tee in the backfield with Henderson split to the right. In motion comes Detweiler. Timberlake rolling down the right, fires it up to Henderson. He had it and bobbled around and picked off, but I believe it's going to be called an incomplete pass as that ball hit the ground and bobbled back up. Spike Henderson had it all right. Didn't hold on to it.
I'd like to just bring one point here. Henderson, of course, is our most dangerous pass receiver. Ohio State has 2 men on him when he flanks out. A man about a yard off the line to hit him, contain him, and another man about 10 yards off the line to keep him from going deep and beating them on a real long touchdown-type pass.
3rd and 15 now for Michigan. This time, Henderson is split to the left. As Timberlake, rolling back. Going back to his own 40. He's going to pass. Can't find anybody free. He's going to have to run to the ball. Comes back to the 45, to the 50. Down into Ohio State territory at about the 47-yard line where he is brought down there by the linebacker on the right side, Dwight Kelly. And Tom Keepus also in on the stop for the Buckeyes. Chuck?
Right now we have a problem that has been worrying the coaches a little bit. We have a kicker, Stan Kemp, who doesn't play at all except to kick. He's a little bit cold. Number 2, he's kicking into the open end. It's very windy down there. He's going to have some trouble.
Single safety back, Bo Ryan for Ohio State. As Kemp shifting into punt formation now, he's going back to about the Michigan 40. Dropping back along with Ryan now, it's like Tom Barrington on the far side. They're standing on about the Ohio State 10. Kemp pulls on the ball and gets off a high spiral, coming down, hitting, out of bounds. We'll have to wait till they mark it. It looks like about the 19, 20-yard line. Over on the far side as that punt sailed out. About a 28-yard boot for Kemp. And they'll put it in play. Says the referee now on the 22.5-yard line in Ohio State territory. So for the first time this afternoon, Ohio State have their hands on the football. We'll check this backfield now for Ohio State. We see Bo Ryan. Unferfurth running the team at quarterback. Ohio State set out in the eye, and it's Sander and Barrington behind Unferfurth. In motion now to the left comes Sander, the pitch back, comes to Barrington, coming wide around the left side, cuts back at the 20, goes to about the line of scrimmage, and he is nailed there by about 3 Michigan tacklers. Leading the charge, Tom Cicchini, Jerry Mader also in on it, as the ball is placed down on the 23.
Number 94 on that one, Jerry Mader from Chicago, a senior, taking the place of the injured and very valuable John Yans on defense. Completely contained that end run attempt by Tom Barrington. A tremendous play by Mr. Mader. One of the
great things this year by Michigan is the fact that they have been able to fill in these injuries that have cost them key personnel. This time the slot is to the right. As Unferfurth faking the 1-man, rolling to the left, is going to run to the ball up to the 25, goes to the 30, and he's bumped out of bounds by Dick Reinfuss up around the 30-yard line. Reinfuss back in there today after the ankle injury suffered against Illinois. Came up from his defensive safety position that time to bump up out on about the 30-yard line. They're placing it just over. Down and a long yard to go. Unferfurth calling out the signals at quarterback. Turns, gives to his fullback Sanders, and he's up over a hole on the left side, and he's got enough for the first down as he's over the 35-yard line. Tripped up in there by Ricky Seeger. As the ball is placed down just shy of the 36, that'll be enough for the first down for Ohio State, the first for the Buckeyes. The scarlet and the gray up to the line of scrimmage now. It's the slot right for him. Set in the slot is Bo Ryan. Unferfurth barking out the signals, turns, gives off to the fullback Sanders, and he's got about 5 up to the 40-yard line. He's powering his way out on that left side that time, following his interference on that left side, led by Ray Pryor and Jim Davidson. Woody Hayes shifting his guards on each player on that left side, Pryor and Ted Endrick. As the ball is placed down on the Ohio State 40, a gain that time of 4, 2nd and 6. Again, the slot is to the right. Unferfurth turns, Gives off to Sanders, and Sanders over the right side for about 4 as he goes up to the 44-yard line. Arnie Simkus in on the stop for Michigan. Sanders, the leading ball carrier on Ohio State. He had 561 yards and a 4.2 average per carry coming into this afternoon's contest. He had a bruised neck against Northwestern, but evidently it has cleared up sufficiently. Splitting out to the right side. At an end is Bob Stock, the straight T in the backfield this time for the Buckeyes. Unbalanced line to the right as Hunterford fakes to one man, goes over the 45. He's up to around the 47-yard line. Simkus in on the tackle, and at the bottom of that pile, getting off is Dick Reinfuss, and that'll be enough for the first down. As the ball placed up to the 47-yard line, still in Ohio State territory. 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes. Ryan this time is setting the slot to the right. Stocks the split right end. Hunterford turns, gives off to his fullback, and breaking in there, I think it was Frank Nunley. His linebacker slot on the right side, and he hit Sander before he could get any kind of momentum going, and he spilled him back there for about a yard loss just over the 45-yard line.
One thing, so far Ohio State has been using a lineup very similar, and the plays are very similar to Michigan's own offense.
Paul Hudson's in there to full back now, replacing Sander. In motion to the right goes Barrington. Humberford going back to pass, rolling back to his 40, flips it out to the right side to Barrington. He got it on the 45, and he's nailed right there as soon as he caught that ball by Jim Conley, and also over to help him out was Tom Cicchini. That time, Barrington sent in motion to the right. The swing pass over on the right side, and Humberford hit him on about the 45, but Michigan had to play diagnose pretty well as Cicchini and Conley both came up to close it up. The ball placed down on the 47, just about at the original line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 10 to go for Ohio State. This time, they're splitting to the left. Bob Stock in motion to the left. Goes Barrington. Underfirth rolling back, and he is hit. And a loose ball back there in the Ohio State 39. The Buckeyes have recovered. But that time, Underfirth was going to fire over here on the left side, but he never had a chance. Bill Yerby breaking through there. And got to him back on the 39-yard line of Ohio State. So Michigan's defense once again coming up with a big play. Dropping back into punt formation now for the Buckeyes is Steve Drepper, a senior from Montpelier, Ohio, standing on the 26. Gets the foot into the ball, sails a low kick, hits on the 35, takes a bounce to the 30, and it's going to go dead on about the 29-yard line of Michigan, where the Wolverines will take over. 1st and 10 to go. A 32-yard punt that time for Steve Drepper. As we 5:30 to go here in this first quarter, no score between the Wolverines and the Buckeyes. Wolverines and the Buckeyes. So the clock running right now, and now it's going to be killed as Ohio State takes the timeout, and this will allow Michigan to get their offense in there, and Ohio State, of course, with their defense. So there's a timeout on the field right now with 5:19 remaining in this first quarter. No score between the Buckeyes and the Wolverines.
For those fans of ours back in Michigan, who I'm sure are under snow right now, anywhere between 2 to 4 inches, as far as we can see down here, there is across the fields and practice fields of Ohio State University, there is no snow here. There's no snow in the field. Had a little bit of a wet snow last night, but the field was covered. I had an opportunity to talk to Don Dufek, the defensive backfield coach, before the game. He told me the field is dry.
And we have just that, Chuck Collins, so far, as Timberlake calling for the first play. Keeps the ball, comes up with the 30 to the 35 to the 40. He rolls up to the 44-yard line before finally nailing him right there was Tom Keefus, defensive end for the Buckeyes. And there's the play that Timberlake has ran so successfully this year, faking, coming around that right side, and he reeled off the first down to the Michigan 44-yard line before they could finally nail the big fellow. Timberlake coming into today's game, threatening the record of Bob Chapias for total offense. This time he fakes to Anthony, pitches back to Ward. Ward gets away from one man, but he gets back to off the line of scrimmage, and that's all. As 2 Buckeyes meet him right there. John Phil getting off that pile, along with Bill Spar, as they place the ball down just shy of the 44. He might have lost about a yard on that play. Henderson splits out wide to the right this time, as Timberlake sends Detweiler in motion to the right. Rolling back to pass, standing on the 35, and he's going to be hit and smeared back on the 36-yard line. Tom Kivas breaking in there from the right defensive end that time. Caught Timberlake before he could get rid of that ball. So it's a loss back to the 36-yard line. Ben Farabee coming into the Michigan lineup now. Henderson, the split right end, the straight T in the backfield for the Wolverines. Detweiler moves in motion to the right. Timberlake going back. Fires it upfield. It was intended for Ward. He couldn't grab it. Thrown a little bit away from Carl up on the 37 of Michigan. Over there to cover him was the linebacker on that side, Tom Bugle, and Steve Dreffer also. So Michigan's going to have to give up the football again as they were unable to move it. With 3:28 still to go in this first quarter and no score. And Stan Kemp into the Michigan lineup now to do the punting for the Wolverines here in this first quarter. And he is going to be kicking into a wind that must approximate about 30 miles an hour at least this afternoon. Pass from centers. Kemp gets the foot into it. He was rushed hard back there. Ball is taken and dropped by Bo Ryan, and he falls on it back on the Ohio State 22-yard line. So that time, Kemp, although rushed hard in there by 3 Buckeyes, got away a 41-yard boot that carried down to the Ohio State 22.5-yard line where it was down right there. Chuck Collins?
We have some official weather information from the Ohio State Press Box Committee. The temperature here is 21 degrees and the wind is 25 miles an hour out of the west.
Right you are. Right now, the unbalanced line to the left for the Buckeyes. Underford calling the signals at quarterback. Turns. Gives out to his big fullback Sanders, and he's up near the 30-yard line before he's brought down there by 2 Michigan tacklers. In under the bottom of that pile, Bill Lasky and Frank Nunley. As the ball is placed down right on the 30, a gain that time of 7 for this big 212-pound Cincinnati junior, Willard Sanders. Slot right this time for the Buckeyes. Underford turning. Gives off to Sanders. This time he finds little running room over that right side. As he was pulled down, Bob Milkey, Bill Yerby, both getting off the pile. As the ball, so far, pretty much of a defensive struggle out here this afternoon. Again, spots to the right. Underford turns, gives off to Sander again, and a fumble up on the Ohio State 45, and let's see who recovered. The Buckeyes have it. Hit the ball that fell on that. I think it was Bob Stock. It was number 80, Bob Stock, 207-pound junior from Washington, Pennsylvania. Sander had the first down with yards to spare. He fumbled when he was hit hard up and around the 40. The ball bounced upfield to the 46-yard line of Ohio State, and Stock, the split end for Ohio State, breaking upfield, alertly dropped on that ball in Ohio State territory. Straight T in the backfield this time for the Buckeyes. The unbalanced line to the right. Underford turns, gives off to the fullback Sander, and he's over the right side for maybe a couple. Jim Conley in on the stop for Ohio State. Arnie Simkus also. Pickup of 2 up to the 48. Ray Pryor and Ted Endrick out of that lineup. Straight T in the backfield this time for the Buckeyes. Again, the unbalanced line this time to the right. The pitch back comes to Bo Ryan. He's coming around the left side, and he gets into Michigan territory at about the 49-yard line. Tom Cicchini. And Bill Keating falling on him there. And is placed down in the 49-yard line of Michigan. That'll make it 3rd and about 5. Run. I don't think Ohio State will get this next play in motion before the gun ends, sounding the end of the first quarter. And there it is, the end of the first quarter. So as the teams shift positions on the field, the score, Michigan nothing, Ohio State nothing. Ohio Stadium. Tom Hemingway speaking, along with Chuck Collins and J.P. Stadius. We're at the end of 1 full quarter of action now. There is no score between Michigan and Ohio State. A bright, sunshiny afternoon right now, a stiff wind, and temperature 21 degrees. The ball in possession of Ohio State on the Michigan 49-yard line. And to my best recollection, I believe, Chuck, this is the first time that the Buckeyes have been in Michigan's side of the field this afternoon. Ross Dean, the referee, sets the ball in play, and we're all set to go. Slot to the right this time for the Buckeyes. Is going back is Don Unferford. He's going to pass on first down. Fires it out to the right side. It's incomplete. intended up here to Bo Ryan, who was the slot back set on the right side that time, down on the 45. Covering over there was Jim Conley for Michigan. I think we said passing on first down. That was a third down situation. They're set in the straight T right now, but they'll shift into punt formation with Steve Dreffer falling back to the Ohio State 37. He'll be booting into this win for the first time this afternoon. It's another low kick coming down and taken on the 20 or 15 and hit immediately up on the 18-yard line is Rick Seeger. Bill Ryder was the boy down there for Ohio State on that punt coverage on a 29-yard kick by Dreffer. Seeger caught it, got it back about 3 yards to the 18, where they place it first down and 10 to go for Michigan. Giving off the ball to Anthony is Timberlake, and Anthony powers his way over the left side of that line. He's up to around the 22-yard line before Bill Ritter again in there on the stop for the Buckeyes. Michigan uniform ground getting last week against Iowa. Again, Ward set just outside the right side. As in motion to the right goes Detweiler. Timberlake back to pass, fires it up on the left side. Henderson had it. He was hit hard by the defensive halfback on that side and couldn't hold on to the ball. Don Harkins smacked him over there. Yards overall to catch Tom Harmon, who's in second place for Michigan. In motion to the right goes Detweiler. Timberlake rolling to the right. He's going to keep it. He finds running room on the right side. Goes to the 25. He's up to the 28, 29-yard line. Before Dwight Ike Kelly over there to meet him, along with Steve Dreffer. Linebackers for the Buckeyes. Chuck?
One thing, we arrived here in Columbus last night, and we noticed the campus paper, the Columbus Sports section, and even the regular Columbus paper had huge ads considering the Ohio State trying to stop Timberlake. That seems to be their main concern. I happened to talk to one of their coaches this morning. He expressed the same concern, but so far I don't think that they're going to stop Timberlake unless they're going to shift their defenses.
Right now we'll see what Michigan does with a 4th and 1 situation. And Kemp is into the lineup now for Michigan, and he's going to be doing the punting, and they'll be kicking on about from the 15 of Michigan. Kemp, again, being rushed hard in that backfield, gets the punt away. It's taken by Ryan on the 36 of Ohio State. He comes back up to the 40, gets away to the 45, and he's down right there. Firth now running the team at quarterback. Turns, gives off to Steve Dreffer, and he is pulled down right at about the line of scrimmage. Chuck Kynes, first of all, to hit him in there. John Markham also, as Michigan right now, of course, in there with mainly an offensive team. Ohio State with the defense. As the clock is running, and they can change only 2 on each play. Anthony goes out of there now, as Dick Reinfuss, Rick Seeger come in there. Ryan in the backfield with Unferberth. Ryan is set in the slot to the right this time as Unferberth turns and gives off to Sanders, and he's finds a hole in the Michigan territory. He's down to the 44-yard line of the Wolverines. Falling on him there was Seeger and Reinfuss, and it's a first down for Ohio State. The 4th for the Buckeyes this afternoon. Yerby now, Michigan 44-yard line. Unferberth turns, gives off to the fullback Sanders, and he finds running room as he cracks down to the Michigan 39-yard line. Moving him up there was Yerby and Dave Butler, also in there on defense for Michigan. Now he's going to go main ball carrying duties for Ohio State. This time the balanced line for the Buckeyes. As Unferberth turns and gives off to Sanders, but this time he is met at just about the line of scrimmage. Like Bill Lasky and Bob Milkey, along with Frank Nunley in on that stop. Chuck?
One thing that we've heard a lot about this year is Ohio State's coach, Woody Hayes, a fine coach, has opened up his attack. He's passing, he's sprinting to the outside and everything. But as we all knew coming into this game, he's going to stick to the old Woody Hayes game when the chips are down of running the fullback up the middle or just off tackle. He knows what good football is, and he's going to stick to it, I'll guarantee you, when the chips are down.
So far in this game, that's been their bread and butter play. The straight T in the backfield for the Buckeyes. The unbalanced line to the right. The pitch back comes to Barrington, wide around the right side, and Reinfuss in to contain him and bumping him out of bounds. Frank Nunley back on the Michigan 38-yard line about. As that time, Reinfuss came up quickly from the defensive backfield to slow him down back there, and Nunley bumped him out of bounds on the 38. So that will be short of the first down. Another big defensive play there, Chuck, for Michigan.
Our fine captain, Jim Connolly, has always done an outstanding job. And on that play right there, they tried to sweep his end. He obliterated, if you don't mind my using the word, 3 of their blockers that were trying to lead the play over. And as a result, Reinfuss was able to come up with no one to block him. He easily made the stop.
There's a timeout down on the field right now. Ohio State taking it, getting their punting team in. Michigan now will come in with their offense. Time back in. Dropping back to punt formation for Ohio State goes Steve Dreffer. Comes up, gets the foot into the ball. It's a wobbly kick. Fair catch called for by Seeger, but he lets the ball go into the Michigan end zone. And it'll be brought out to the 20 on the touchback. 1st and 10 to go for Michigan. A 38-yard boot that time from the line of scrimmage for Dreffer. And that's where Michigan has it right now, running at 1st and 10. Timberlake pitching back to Detweiler, starting wide around the right side. Cuts back at the 20. He's up to the 25-yard line. A 5-yard pickup that time. In there first of all, to bump him off his feet was Jerry Kasunik for Ohio State. As the ball is placed down right on the 25, a 5-yard pickup that time for Detweiler. For the Big Ten title of 1964 and the trip to Pasadena on New Year's Day. Timberlake this time pitches back to Detweiler, and he's right over the left side as he's up to about the 28-yard line. Ike Kelly from his linebacker position that time, leading the charge for Ohio State. Faraby's in there at the tight end now as Timberlake rolling down on the option play. He keeps it. And a fumble down on the field, and Ohio State has recovered. Timberlake that time running down the line of scrimmage. He fumbled and getting off the pile for Ohio State. Tom Keepus. A bad break there for Michigan, a great one for Ohio State as they have the ball now 1st and 10 to go on the Michigan 29 as a timeout is taken. And once again, Chuck Collins, Michigan's defense is going to have to come up with a tremendous stand.
The pressure is really on now. And one point we might make right now, watching their kicker, Mr. Funk, before the game, he can kick easily from where they are right now, which will be about a 45-yard kick if Michigan holds him right here. But he's going to have to kick into the wind. I think they're going to have to go for 7 if they're going to get any score at all.
They're ready to go. 1st and 10 unbalanced line to the right. Set in the slot is Ryan as Umferberth. There's a flag down to the play, gives up to Sanders. It looks like an illegal motion down there by Ohio State that time as one of the Ohio State linemen on that left side, or I believe it was one of the backfield men, made one motion. I don't think he was set for that second. We'll see as Sanders advanced the ball down to the 26-yard line. 1st and 15 for the Buckeyes. Slot to the right, unbalanced line to the right is the handoff. Is fake to Sanders, kept by Umferberth around the left side, and he's down at about the 30-yard line, bumped out of bounds over there by Dick Reinfuss. And Frank Nunley also over there covering on that as they bring the ball in and place it down. 8:12 to go in this first half. There is no score between these two teams. Unbalanced line to the right again for the Bucks. The handoff is given to Sender, and he runs into Bob Milkey and Bill Yerby at the line of scrimmage. As he fell forward, looks around the 28-yard line. That's where they place it down. So now it will be 3rd down and 9. Chuck?
One thing I might mention, again, the wind, they're heading toward the open end of this horseshoe. The wind is blowing at, I said, 25 miles an hour, gusting up to 35. There's a factor. They cannot throw a long pass here. They need 9 yards for a 1st down to keep the ball going. They're going to either have to try a short pass or an end sweep, I believe.
Splitting out wide to the right is Bob Stock, and set in the slot is Bo Ryan as Umferberth going back to pass. Looking out to Stock, fires it out here, and he is incomplete. Thrown down on the Michigan 21-yard line. Over there was Rick Volk covering Stock as he was breaking towards the sidelines and in and out. And now let's see, here comes Bob Funk into the lineup for Ohio State, so we're going to be getting a field goal attempt as the Michigan defense has once again stiffened. Holding Arnie Chanko on the 34. You might look for the fake here. Here's the boot. It's up in the air, and it's way short. Hits the end zone. Rick Seeger was back there for Michigan. And falling on, let's see, are they marking it down on the 1-yard line? And Jim Conley back there to talk, and we're going to get quite a... As they place it down on the 1-yard line, we're getting quite a discussion down on the field right now. Well, Chuck, this is going to push Michigan way back.
I thought I knew something about football, but the ball was kicked. Seeger let it go into the end zone. It was spinning with a backward spin, as all balls that are kicked off or place kicked are. It hit about 2 yards deep, spun out of the end zone. I was under the impression the ball was dead. Maybe it was because Michigan did not down the ball in the end zone. Somehow it spun back out to the 1 yard line. We're on the 1 yard line.
That could very well be it, Chuck. That's right, and Michigan now back to the, well, just over the 1 yard line, and they are really forced to move now from deep in their own territory. They couldn't be much deeper as they're ready to break out. Timberlake calling for quiet from the crowd now. Turns, gives off to Anthony, and he just gets to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. 3 bucks in on the tackle. Ike Kelly, Jerry Kasunik, both getting off that pileup. As Anthony, very little yardage on that. Maybe straight T in the backfield, in motion to the right goes Detweiler. Timberlake takes the snap, again gives off to Anthony, and he gets a couple. Dragging him down there from the ankle that time was Bill Ritter, as Anthony fell forward to about the 3 yard line. Michigan trying to at least get a little punting room back there. Kept a little room back there. Now in motion to the right goes Detweiler. Timberlake turns, gives off to Anthony. He had a slight hole as he cracked up to around the 6 yard line. Again, Jerry Kasunik, Cleveland senior, 224-pounder for Ohio State, in there to upend him. As the ball is advanced to the 6, that makes it 4th down and 5. Now Michigan checking in on the timeout taken by the Wolverines with their punting team. And Ohio State coming back in there with their offense. 2 yards from the end zone stripe, deep. The big punt here. Kemp steps into it, gets it away, spirals it up to the 45-yard line, taken there by Ryan. He's back to the 40, goes to the 35, hit by Cicchini. He fell forward about the 32 as Bill Yerby and Carl Ward came up there to put the final crusher on him. 38-yard punt that time by Kemp, 14-yard run back by Ryan. The ball is placed down on the 33 of Michigan, again in the possession of the Buckeyes. Unbalanced line to the right. Stock, the split right end, the straight T in the backfield. The give is fake to Sander, and Unferford keeps it, starts over the left side, gets little yardage as Bill Keating, Bob Milkey, and Frank Nunley, along with Dick Reinfuss, all in there on that stop. The line is unbalanced to the right for the Buckeyes. Unferford turns, fakes, gives to Ryan, and he hit on a beautiful defensive play by Bill Lasky back on the 33-yard line, as Lasky that time was not fooled as he broke in there from his right defensive end position as Unferford faked to the one side and gave to Ryan on the left side, and Ryan lost 2 back to the 33. That makes it 3rd down and 10. The slot to the right this time as Unferford is going back to pass. Looking downfield, fires a long one intended for Ryan and broken up by Dick Reinfuss down on the Michigan 15. As Dick Reinfuss back into the lineup for the first time since the Illinois game, came up again with a big defensive play. Chuck?
On that particular play, Bo Ryan from Niles McKinley High School, who played with both Rick Seeger and Dick Reinfuss at Niles McKinley High School under our line coach Tony Mason, was covered by both Reinfuss and Seeger. They all said some pleasantries when they got up after Reinfuss made a fine play on that football.
Well, it looks as though we're going to get the field goal attempt again in here, Chuck, as kneeling is Arnie Chanko on the Michigan 39. Bob Funk will be attempting it from that point. Here's the boot. It's a fake. Chanko running back to pass, fires it left-handed upfield. It's complete. Up on the 22 and then fumbled. Goes out of bounds. It's going to be short of the first down regardless, since they'd had to go to the 23, and Michigan's going to take over. We didn't catch the boy that caught that pass over there, Chuck. Wasn't too much fooled by that fake field goal attempt. It had been a 49-yard boot that Funk made it, but Michigan takes over on their own 25. Timberlake turns, fakes to Anthony, going back to pass, fires it upfield, intended for Farabee. He's got it up on the Michigan 40-yard line, and he's pulled down right there. Arnie Chanko, Tom Bugle, And John Phil all back there to cover on that pass play as Timberlake that time, good deception in the backfield, hit his tight end, Ben Fairby, up just shy of the Michigan, or the Ohio State, or that's right, Michigan 40. They've got fourth down over there, but it's first down and 10 now for Michigan. Timberlake rolling back, he's going to pass again, fires it upfield. It is almost intercepted by John Phil on the Michigan 48-yard line.
There are now 2 minutes and 10 seconds. I'm sorry, excuse me. There are 3 minutes exactly left in the end of this half. Michigan would love to get on the scoreboard going into the dressing room. They have the ball there in their own 40. They have an excellent chance.
That last pass, Timberlake has now tied Tom Harmon for second place in all-time yardage, as this time he's rolling back to the right. He's going to run with the ball, and he is brought down back on the 38-yard line by Tom Bugle. As Timberlake that time could not get around this big 200-pound junior from West Homestead, Pennsylvania, who nailed him back on the 38 of Michigan. Michigan 30 twice in this second quarter. Michigan has not been able to get the ball out of their own territory so far in this second quarter. As Ward moves in motion to the left, Timberlake back to pass, and he is pulled down back on the 30-yard line by Bill Ritter this time, breaking in there from his defensive guard position, and he nailed Timberlake back on the Michigan 30, so Michigan is going to have to give up that football again with 2 minutes now remaining in this first half. Stan Kemp is standing on the Michigan 17-yard line. Double safety dropping back for the Buckeyes now. Kemp will be kicking with the aid of that wind this time. Gets the boot away. It's a high one. Catches that wind. Comes down to Ryan. He fumbles it. Back on the 23. Let's see. Michigan has recovered. And it's John Henderson down there to grab it on the Ohio State 20-yard line. Chuck, we've got our first big break of the game.
I think it's about time we got one. There's 1 minute and 19 seconds left in this half.
So Michigan will be putting this play in motion in a hurry now as the clock's still running. Henderson that time dropped on that fumble by Bo Ryan back on the Ohio State 20. Timberlake this time as Henderson split to the right. He's going back. He's being hemmed in back there. Starts to run with it on the left side. He gets back to the 20-yard line. Spins forward to the 17. Nailing him over on that side. Steve Dreffer, first of all. And now Michigan calls a timeout to stop that clock, and it shows 52 seconds remaining in this first half.
1 point. Now Michigan is going into the closed end of this stadium. There's hardly any wind, believe it or not, down in that end of the field. Timberlake is a fine kicker. They might go for 3. They're in fine position, although they'd much rather have the 7.
Well, we certainly don't see an empty seat in this huge stadium here this afternoon. And you can see the parkas, the blankets, the mittens, and the earmuffs much in evidence here this afternoon. It's 21 degrees, and it, I imagine, feels much colder with that wind whipping across your nose. Staff. Crowd comes to life now as Timberlake has the team up to the line of scrimmage. He's going back to pass. Fires it down intended for Detweiler. He has it on the 5, and let's see. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan.
On that particular play, Tom, Jim Detweiler from Toledo, Ohio, a fine sophomore halfback, lined up in the deep halfback position, went down over the middle to about the 5-yard line, crossed over the middle, and was hit by Timberlake, a play he scored on 3 times this year now.
Timberlake will be tempting the extra point. It's a big one. It's up in the air. A flag is dropped. The point is good. Offside, Ohio State, refused by Michigan. Michigan comes back upfield, leading 7-0. 44 seconds remaining on that clock in this first half. Now Michigan will be kicking off with the win. Referee Ross Dean now signaling that Ohio State offside on that last point after touchdown. Incidentally, for Timberlake now, that is 20 out of 20 this year in the point after touchdown department. And gives him a total of 29 in the kicking department. An overall competition, 29 points. They forgot to give Michigan the 5 yards there when they were teeing it up on this next kickoff. Now they've remembered, and they put it on the tee, and it immediately blew off. So Reinfuss is going to hold. Timberlake now needs 28 yards to set an all-time new single-season record, or rather career record for Michigan in the total offense department. He's already passed Tom Harmon. He's got to catch Bob Chappius. Here he comes on the ball. The boot is up. It's a sailing kick. Goes into the end zone, taken by Ryan. He's going to run it out. Comes to the 5, goes to the 10, to the 15. Ryan tripped up, falls forward to the 22-yard line. I think it's Bill Keating, or Bob Milkey back there, that tripped him up. Milkey 63 and Keating 68. It's Keating that tripped him up as he fell forward at the 20-yard line, and that's where they place it. That's right where they had it had he downed it. So the Buckeyes will put it in play. 1st and 10. The clock's still running. 20 seconds showing in the first half. Michigan leading 7-0. Unbalanced line to the right. Straight tee in the backfield for the Buckeyes. Unpreferred. Has Stock split out wide to the right. Turns. Fakes. Keeps. Goes himself up to the 25. Goes to the 30-yard line. Gave up to Barrington there, actually, coming over there. And Ohio State trying to call a timeout here. No time remaining on the clock. Let's see. Michigan has already started off the field. And the referee, Rothstein, says time has expired here in this first half. Let's take a look at the statistics briefly here in this first half. It finds Michigan leading Ohio State 7-0. The teams were even in the first down department, 5 apiece. Michigan picked up 38 yards on the ground in that first half, certainly their lowest total of a half of the season. Ohio State 76 on the ground, Michigan 45 through the air, Ohio State 9 through the air. Overall, Ohio State 85 total, Michigan 83. Total plays, Michigan 27 in the first half, Ohio State 28. Give you a little idea of the apparent closeness, although, as we'll talk about a little bit later, Ohio State really, in that second quarter, had the advantage but failed to take advantage of it. In the passing department, Bob Timberlake tried 8, hit on 3. Ohio State's Unverfurth tried 5, he hit on 2. Actually, Chonko threw 1 on that fake field goal attempt. Stan Kemp punted 5 times, averaged 38.2. Ohio State's Dreffer punted 3 times, he averaged 28 yards a kick. Michigan fumbled once, they lost it. Ohio State fumbled 4 times in this first half, and of course they lost it once, and that was the play that led to the touchdown for Michigan. Both teams penalized 10 yards in this first half. Well, Chuck Collins, what do you look for here in this second half of action now?
Well, one point I think we ought to make before we get started here, Tom, is the fact that Ohio State had 2 fine breaks offensively. They had the ball on our 20-yard line twice with first down, 10 yards to go. They couldn't get in. They couldn't even get a big play to get close enough for a real good field goal attempt. On the other hand, we got a break. We took advantage of that break, and we're on the scoreboard. And I'll assure you right now that there might be some doubt in Ohio State's head, their players right now, as if they really can beat this fine Michigan team. And I'm sure Michigan knows for sure right now that they can do the job when they have to. Therefore, offensively, I think, like we've said before, when chips are down, Woody Hayes, I'm sure, is going to stick to that ground game with Willard Sander pounding up the middle, Tom Barrington off short off-tackle slants. And what I mean by short is that close to the center of the line. Offensively, Michigan's on the scoreboard. One point we might make right now is Ohio State won the toss opening the game. They took field position. We have the choice here. And I can see right now, I believe that they were sending in our defensive unit. We will undoubtedly kick and hope that going into the fourth quarter, we'll have a position where we will be operating out of the closed end of the field, being able to pass and kick more readily. Other than that, Tom, I don't really know what Michigan has in mind. I'm sure they'd like to get on the scoreboard again, but on the other hand, they don't want to mess around with a 7-0 lead against a fine Ohio State University team.
And Chuck, it's being watched by a crowd here, the second biggest in Ohio State history this afternoon, 84,685, just under the largest all-time crowd of 1963 last year to watch Ohio State, Illinois, of 84,712. And they have, so far, seen one terrific ball game, an offensive game in that first half of Michigan, capitalizing on a fumble recovery down on the Ohio State 20. Bob Timberlake hitting Jim Detweiler on a 17-yard pass play to put Michigan on the scoreboard, where they lead now 7-0. As we're all set to go, Michigan will be kicking off and defending the southern end zone. Deep for Ohio State. Ryan and Barrington. Here's Timberlake's kick. He topped it. It hits on the 20, goes to the 15, picked up there by Barrington. He's back to the 20, comes to the 25, and he's hit on the 27-yard line and down right there. As he ran into Bill Yerby, he bounced off Yerby, but ran right back into Rick Volk, who spilled him on the 28-yard line of Ohio State, and that's where the Buckeyes will put it 1st and 10 to go. Michigan with a six-man defensive wall now. The straight T in the backfield for Ohio State. Unbalanced line to the left this time for the Buckeyes. Unpreferred turns, fakes to Ryan, gives to Barrington, and he is smeared by Cecchini, Reinfus, Lasky, Simkus, Milky, all in there to stop him as he started around that right side. Barrington, after a fake to Ryan, got it back up over the 25. We'll wait till they place it down. On the 27-yard line, so actually he lost. Paul Hudson into the game now for Ohio State at a fullback position. He's a 205-pound sophomore replacing Willard Sander. Ryan is set just outside the left tackle this time as the unbalanced line to the left, and the handoff goes to Hudson. He bounces off one man, gets up to the 31-yard line. As unpiling there for Michigan, Tom Cecchini getting off the bottom of that pile, making the tackle on Hudson up on the 31-yard line. It's over the 31. So Hudson picking up 4 on that play. 3rd down and 7 to go. Woody Hayes has followed the custom this afternoon of alternating his offensive left guards, Ray Pryor and Ted Andrick. No doubt sending in plays with each of these. As this time the Buckeyes line up again with the unbalanced line to the right as back to pass goes on for flips it up on the left side. Is complete up to Bo Ryan on the 39-yard line. Hit by Reinfus and Tom Cecchini at that point. They'll have to measure probably for the first down. They had to go to the 38 as they're going to have to come all the way across the field from the far side of the near side where he was pushed out in front of the Ohio State bench. Woody Hayes standing right there looking things over. Woody decked out in his short sleeve shirt again this afternoon. They place the chains down and it's enough for the first down. Up to the line of scrimmage come the Bucks. Tom Federle over the ball at center for Ohio State. Again the unbalanced line to the left. Underfoot turns, gives off to the fullback Hudson over the left side. Plows up to the 40. Bob Milky and Arnie Simkus in on the stop. As the ball placed down just over the 40, a gain of about 2 that time for Hudson. 2nd down and 8. Back in there. No, it's still Hudson in there. This time the fake to Hudson. Underfoot keeps, and he's tripped up in that backfield, falls forward shy of the 40. Like Milky and Keating both got a hand on him in that backfield. Chuck?
Here again, Mr. Unver, I'm sorry, Tom. What is the short side of the field? In other words, to the closest sideline. He hasn't been able to do it. This also could psychologically hurt Ohio State.
And they have to go on a 3rd down play now, an 8. As back to pass goes Umperford. Decides to run with it, gets back to the line of scrimmage, and Simkus and Yerby hit him right there. He falls forward, but a gain of about 2 that time as Umperford found all of his receivers covered on that play, had to run with the ball. He got it up to the 40, and that was all. So it'll be 4th down and 8, and Ohio State will have to punt. Unpreferred attempted 6 passes. He has hit on 3. Back to punt goes Steve Dreffer. Both punters this afternoon, ironically, wear the number 30. Dreffer standing on the 30, gets the punt away. It's an end-over-end sailing kick, comes down to Seeger. He takes it on the 23, running wide to the right. Cuts back up to the 25, and he is down on the 29-yard line. Ray Pryor and Jim Davidson both in on the tackle for Ohio State at that point, along with Bob Stock as the ball is placed down on the 28 in Michigan's end of the field. 37-yard boot that time for Dreffer and a 5-yard run back by Seeger. A timeout on the field. The teams changed personnel. Michigan in with their offense. Ohio State back in with their defense. 28 of Michigan. Flank wide to the left. Goes Henderson. Split as Ward in motion to the left. Timberlake gives out. The fullback up over to the 30-yard line that time. A gain of about 3 for Mel Anthony. Or make it 2 as they place it down on the 30. Tom Bugle led the defensive charge in there for the Buckeyes. The ball is placed just over the 30. 2nd down and 8 to go for Michigan. 10:45 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Michigan leading Ohio State 7-0. The battle for the Big Ten title. Timberlake pitches back to Detweiler. He's rolling around the right side. He's up to the 30. He comes up to the 34-yard line, where he's knocked down there, first of all, by Tom Kiefer. Jerry Kazunik also off that pile. They put it down just shy of the 35. 3rd down now and 4 for Michigan. Henderson split to the right. Timberlake running down, pitches back to Anthony, cuts back up at the 35. He's hit right there and bounced out of bounds. He did not get enough for the first down as Tom Keefus, Jerry Kasunik, and Dwight Kelly all over there to hem Detweiler in on that side and force him out at the 35. So that'll force Michigan now into a punt situation. Neither team able to move the ball the first time they had it in this second half. So Stan Kemp checking into the Michigan lineup now. He'll be doing the punting for the Wolverines. Going back to the Michigan 21. Twin safety back for Ohio State. Barrington and Ryan. Ryan standing back on the Ohio State 20. Kemp gets the boot away. It's a high punt. Coming down, hits on the 20, rolls to the 18, to the 17, takes a Michigan bounce, goes over the 15, and it's killed right there. A good punt by Stan Kemp.
He doesn't want to take the whole responsibility of this game right in his own hands.
The Buckeyes ready to go 1st and 10 from their own 15. Unverfurth in there at quarterback, running the Buckeyes with the unbalanced line to the right. Turns, keeps the ball, heads up over the right side, and he gets nowhere. As he got back to the 14 for about a yard loss, Arnie Simkus and Jim Conley both in under there. Looked like it could have been almost a missed signal on that, Chuck.
On that particular play, he turned to his right. Willard Sander, the halfback, went to his left. In other words, Unverfurth's left. So therefore, he turned the wrong side. He had to keep the ball himself. There was a hole there, but he didn't recover quick enough to hit it.
8:40 showing on the clock in the third quarter. As this time they have the slot right. They being the Buckeyes, as Unverfurth turns and gives off to his fullback. Paul Hudson in there now, cracking up over the right side. He's up to about the 19-yard line. Unpiling there for Michigan. Bill Yerby. As they place it down on the 19-yard line, 3rd down and 6 to go for Ohio State. Running as Michigan, trying for their first Big Ten title since 1950, and their first win over Ohio State since 1959. As Unverfurth this time pitches back, a fumble in the Ohio State backfield, and I think Ohio State recovered back in the 15 as Bo Ryan was juggling that ball around as he was going to take the pitch back from Unverfurth. But that'll cost the Buckeyes the chance for the first down as it's back to the original line of scrimmage back on the 15. Chuck?
I can't help but note the similarities between our offense and their offense, the way we line up, the way they line up, and the plays. That particular play right there they tried to run was the play that we've seen Detweiler run so well. A quick pitch to him with a lot of interference in front.
That's the 5th fumble by Ohio State this afternoon as Dreffer is going to be punting for Ohio State into that win. Coming up to take a Seeger. He fumbles the ball, and Ohio State is recovered up on the Buckeye 45-yard line. Number 68, I believe, on that ball it is. Doug Van Horn down there to recover that fumble of Rick Seeger on the Ohio State 45. As Rick that time was running right by that ball. He didn't get a good grasp on it. And the ball spun away from him, and he couldn't get back in time to beat Van Horn to it. So Ohio State now moved it out to their 45 on that fumble. That's the second by Michigan this afternoon, and they have lost both. So the Buckeyes will now take over 1st and 10 on their own 45. Straight T in the backfield for the Buckeyes this time with a balanced line. The split left end is Stock. Unverfurth sends Ryan in motion to the left. Fakes to Hudson. Going back to pass. Fires a long one down here intended for Stock. Rick Volk back there to break it up on the Michigan 25-yard line. A good play that time by Rick Volk, who was sticking right with the split end Bob Stock, who broke down that time from the left side and went down into the middle of the field. Volk got in front of him on the 25 to bounce it away.
That particular play was another indication that Woody Hayes is not converted to passing offense. Yes, they threw the ball. They only had one receiver downfield, though. That makes a lot of difference. When Michigan sends, they usually have 3 to 4 or even 5 receivers going downfield. Woody Hayes is still a running coach.
2nd and 10 for Ohio State. This time again, Unverfurth dropping back to pass. Fires it out to the left side. Stock has it, and he is hit immediately. There's a fumble, and let's see. Did Michigan get it before it went out? That's going to be the question as Stock fumbled, and Michigan's got it. What happened that time was Stock fumbled the ball after he had caught it up on the Ohio State 48. The fumble rolled down the sidelines, and there were 2 Michigan men over on that play, and they grabbed it just before it went out. Chuck?
Again, that was Dick Volk that hit him so hard. Bob Chapia's nephew. He hit him so hard that he actually fumbled it just as he was being tackled. This has happened many of the time this season. Rich Volk, probably the hardest tackler on the Michigan football team.
And he's giving Michigan right now the break, right back again. That's the 6th fumble for Ohio State this afternoon. As Michigan has it on the Ohio State 44, and Timberlake pitches back to Detweiler, starts around the right side, goes to the 45, to the 40, down to the 37-yard line. And it could be a fumble on that play. Now, as they mark it down, I believe the tackler on that play, Arnie Chonko Darn Harkins, took the ball away from Detweiler. In Michigan's possession on the 36, 2nd down and 2. This time, Timberlake running over the right side. He's got the 1st down to the 32-yard line as he followed his interference around that right side, led by Dave Butler out there. And that's enough for the 1st down as they put it down on the 32-yard line. In there on the stop that time for Ohio State, Bill Ritter, first of all, for the Buckeyes.
The Michigan team over there on the sidelines that the team is now closest to, yelling, "Go, go, go, we want to go." You know where.
There's no doubt in anybody's mind in the Michigan fans right now where they want to go. Detweiler takes the handoff from Timberlake, starts around the right side, but he was tripped up on about the 31-yard line by Ike Kelly, a fine linebacker for the Buckeyes. As Detweiler got it back to the 31-yard line. A short gain on that play, about a... Ward this time is set in the wing out to the right. The split left end is John Henderson as Timberlake turns and gives off to Mel Anthony. He's found a hole. He's down to the 25, goes to the 22-yard line as Mel spun away at the line of scrimmage from 2 would-be Ohio State tacklers, finally bumped down by Jerry Kasunik and Doug Drenick down on the Ohio State 22, and that may call for a measurement. Chuck?
In that particular play, Mel Anthony hit the left side of the line where the hole should be. Their defense stunting, as it were. In other words, moving in towards the general direction of that play before the play actually started. Caved that side of the line in. The whole left side, therefore, was open. He hit mass of people, saw it was open the outside, and quickly broke to the outside. That's the reason Mel Anthony's a fine football player. He knows where to run.
For that 1st down, as the handoff again is given to Anthony over the hole on the right side this time, and he's down close to the 16-yard line. This time following the interference over the right side.
I know you never hear much about the offensive linemen on any football team, but that time, very typical of the job they've done all year long. John Markham, number 61, a senior from Monroe, Michigan, and Tom Mack, a junior from Cleveland, Ohio.
A pickup of 5 that time for Anthony makes it 2nd and 5 as Timberlake turns this time and again gives to Anthony. This time he was tripped up at about the line of scrimmage, spun off to the left, picked up maybe a yard over the 15-yard line as he was tripped up there by Jerry Kasunik again, this Cleveland senior. He advanced it over the 15-yard line, so that'll make it 3rd and about 3. 3:33 now to go in this 3rd quarter. Michigan leading 7-0, and they are driving inside the Ohio State 15.
Look for Michigan to go to the left, Tom. That way, Tom, Bob Timberlake will be straight away from an attempted field goal.
Henderson is split to the left. The handoff goes to Detweiler. A fumble in the backfield, and the ball is loose at the 15. Michigan has recovered their own fumble, but that will cost them. They were driving for the 1st down as Detweiler, I believe, recovered his own fumble as it was placed down on the 15. So that'll make it 4th and 3. And now into the lineup comes Frati Evashevsky to do the holding and Tom Cicchini to do the centering. And we'll see where they'll be placing it down. It looks about on the 22-yard line. It'll be an angle to Timberlake's left. And it'll be a 32-yard field goal. Here it is. It's placed down. It's up in that direction. Let's see. It's no good. Off to the left, says the referee. So Bob Timberlake missing on a 32-yard field goal, and that will give Ohio State the ball now as they bring it out to the 20. The attempt came with 2:39 remaining in this 3rd quarter. And gives off, I believe it's again to Barrington trying to roll over that right side. No, it was Bo Ryan that time, and he got up to the 20, and that was all. As Michigan's defense, again, coming up strong.
As I sit here, Tom, I just can't help but give all the respect in the world to this fine defensive unit of the University of Michigan. No matter where they are in the field, no matter what the situation, they've been just super tough this year.
Buckeyes. This time, again, they've got the slot left. Rhine set at it. Stock is the split left end. Hunterford this time gives to Barrington. He's bumped at the line of scrimmage, but he gets about 3 before he is nailed up on the 23-yard line. As in there to bump him off stride was Arnie Simkus, and Dick Reinfuss coming up quickly also to bring him down on the 23-yard line. Settling at 4th and 6. A minute and a half remaining in this third quarter, and Ohio State again forced to go to the punt as Dreffer is dropping back into punt formation on his own 10. Steps into the ball, and here it is, a spiral coming down on the 50 taken by Volk. Back into Ohio State territory at the 45, the 40, he's away to the 35, to the 30. Stays on his feet to the 25-yard line as Rick Volk brings that down to the 23 before he is finally knocked off his feet there by Tom Federle. And Steve Dreffer, the boy that did the punting. A fine run back that time by Rick Volk, giving Michigan 1st and 10 on the 24.
He and Rick Seeger were both back to receive that punt. Volk was thinking of signaling for a fair catch. Seeger yelled over, no, take it and run with it. He came over, gave Volk a tremendous block. He slipped between 2 Ohio State men and was on his way. If he hadn't have stumbled, he had 2 blockers in front of him. We might have been in again. But here we are on the 25-yard line. And I think that maybe with the momentum that Michigan is gaining as every minute ticks off this clock, that we might be able to get in that goal line again.
They're wearing the Ohio State defense down as the Buckeyes have faced the situation Michigan did in that second quarter, and that is that they have been inside the Ohio State 40, then the 30, then the 20, and the Buckeyes have been forced to defense it all of the time inside there with the pressure on. This time Timberlake turns and gives off to Anthony, and he's got a big hole, goes to the 15, scrambles down to the 11. As Mel Anthony, the bruising senior from Cincinnati, Ohio, finally chipped up back there by Dwight Kelly and Arnie Chanko. And that's enough for the first down as they put it down on the Ohio State. They say his knee touched back on the 13-yard line. Still enough for the first down. 1st and 10 to go for the Wolverines. Timbo calling the signals, turns again, gives to Anthony, slides off the left side, he's over the 10, down around the 9 or 8-yard line. Grabbing him right there was Bill Ritter, the big guard on the right side for the Buckeyes. Chuck?
As you fans who have ever seen of this year's Michigan team perform, you must agree with me that Mr. Anthony, Mel Anthony from Cincinnati, Ohio, is vastly underrated fullback. He's showing these fans in Ohio right now that he is really one of the real fine fullbacks in the Big Ten.
Certainly, you might say beating Woody Hayes in his own game. This time the pitch back comes to Detweiler, cuts back in at the 10, but he's grabbed back there in a good defensive play by Tom Keepus, who broke in there from his defensive end, and he wasn't knocked out enough on the play as they advanced it just shy of the 10. And with that play, time runs out here in this third quarter with the score Michigan 7, Ohio State nothing. Score Michigan 7, Ohio State nothing. Michigan running with the ball now with the final 15 minutes of this game ready to be run off. Michigan trying to hold on, and of course, as our spotter Dick Julin pointed out here, a tie will not help Michigan this afternoon. They've got to win it because a tie would put Ohio State in the Rose Bowl and give them the championship. One other thing we've been following this afternoon, Timberlake needs 28 yards. Right now, Timberlake's got him up to the line of scrimmage. He's got Detweiler set on the wing to the left. Henderson to split right end on the bootleg. Timberlake going back to pass, looks into the end zone, fires it in there. It is almost complete, but just at the last moment off the fingertips of John Henderson. Henderson had his hands on that ball, just on the extreme outside edges, you might say. But he couldn't hold on. Roughly the 16-yard line. 16 and a half. Again, an angle to the left for Timberlake. Here's the snap. The ball is placed down. It's up. It's good. So Timberlake has come up with about a 26-yard field goal, and Michigan now leading the Buckeyes 10-0. Chuck Collins, that helps us in more ways than one. Certainly psychologically now, Michigan knows that Ohio State must get more than a single touchdown to tie or win this ball game.
You can bet your life Ohio State knows the situation they're in right now. Woody Hayes knows the situation he's in right now. There are 15 minutes of football left to play. Our defense, our strong point, will have to come up again, and I hope they protect us.
Long win. Here comes Timberlake up. Here's the boot. It's a good end-over-end kick. Coming down to Ryan on the 10-yard line. Starts back up to the 15. Cuts to the 20, the 25, to the 30. And he is hit on a good shoulder tackle there by Dick Reinfuss on the 31. He spun up to the 34-yard line. Rick Seeger came in to help him out. And Ryan running that kickoff back. Just over the 33 as they place it down now. 1st and 10 to go for Ohio State. Into that backs. Willard Sanders, the fullback. Unverfurth running the team at quarterback. He's got the balanced line this time with the slot going to the right. Unverfurth going back to pass, standing on his own 25. Fires it long one down the field, intended for Ryan, and he has it down on the Michigan 40-yard line as he cut right between Seeger and Rick Volk, who finally brought him down on the Michigan 39-yard line. So with one play here, Ohio State back inside the Michigan 40-yard line as tight end now for Ohio State comes Greg Lashutka, replacing John Palmer. It's the slot to the left this time for the Buckeyes. Unverfurth again going back to pass. Fires it off to the left side. It's caught by Ryan again down on the Michigan 33, 32-yard line. So Ohio State now opening up through the air as they have pushed the ball down to the Wolverine 32-yard line. That he is hit on the long variety. The slot goes to the right this time with a balanced line for the Buckeyes. Unverfurth this time turns and gives off to his fullback, Willie Sander, who found the driving room and a hole over the right side, and he's down close to the 20-yard line of Michigan. That's enough for the first down. 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes as they now are fighting back. This time, set in the slot to the right goes Ryan. Unverfurth with a balanced line this time. Dropping straight back to pass. Running to the right. Yerby's chasing him back there. He fires it down the right side. It's intercepted by Rick Volk down on the Michigan 7-yard line, and he's down immediately. There's that big defensive play, Chuck Collins, that you were just talking about.
Yes, the thing is on that play right there, Unverfurth was rushed. He didn't really throw the pass. His end down there, Stock made one break on the primary pattern. Unverfurth couldn't throw it when he wanted to, so as a result, he had to wait a little while. Rick Volk had plenty of time to come up and get that pass as Unverfurth actually threw out a desperation as a last gasp chance.
1st and 10 from that point. Timberlake taints and gives off to Anthony. He's up over the 10, close to the 12, the 13. Driving off the left side of that offensive line for Michigan, Tom Federle in on the tackle for Ohio State. With the clock running, both teams now changing their personnel a couple at a time, and just into the 4th quarter. Timbo this time turns, gives off to Anthony again. He squirms up to the 15-yard line. He was hit and dropped there by Doug Van Horn, first of all, who comes out of there now. Lasky in there to end now, along with Conley for Michigan. In motion to the left goes Ward. Timberlake fakes to Anthony, keeps the ball, rolls over the left side as he is up to around the 18-yard line. We'll have to wait till they place it down. He had to go to the 18.5 for the first time. First down. Ike Kelly in there on the stop from his linebacker position again for Ohio State, and they may have to measure on this one. As Michigan, waiting for referee Ross Dean to mark it for play, he has. Kemp will be shifting into punt formation now as Ryan drops back in a single safety for the Buckeyes. Now Barrington's going back to join him, about 10 yards in front of Ryan. Here's the snap. Kemp gets it up. It's a wobbly kick. Comes down and hits on the Michigan 47 and takes an Ohio bounce back to the Michigan 42, and it's down right there by Bob Milkey. Over the ball at center goes Tom Federle. Unverfurth has the unbalanced line to the right this time as he turns and gives off to his fullback, Willie Sander, and he's down to around the 40-yard line. Falling on him there, Bill Keating. And now a timeout taken here by Ohio State as they get the offense in there as the ball is marked down on the 40. 2nd down and 8 to go for the Buckeyes. Chuck?
As you fans back home listening to us over the radio right now, watch your watches. waiting for the end of the game to come. There now 9 minutes and 16 seconds. And if you think time isn't important, you're very wrong. Ohio State has to get on the scoreboard pretty soon if they're going to give Michigan a real run for the roses, as it were.
It's going to be probably the longest 9 minutes in Bump Elliott's life. As Ohio State now running from the 40 in Michigan territory. Unverfurth dropping back to pass this time. Firing it straight down the field, a long one intended for Ryan, and is just overthrown down on the Michigan 10-yard line. Had Ryan grabbed that one, it would have been a big 6 for the Buckeyes, as he had cut in front of the Michigan defender back there, but the pass was just a little bit overthrown. So that'll bring it back 3rd down and 8 as Ohio State's Unverfurth.
He showed it right there with a tremendous cut going out for that pass. He was wide open.
A fine pass receiver, the leading one on the Ohio State team. Back to pass again, goes Unverfurth, rolling up. He's going to run with the ball, goes to the 40, and he is hit on a good tackle there by Bill Yerby and driven out on the Michigan 38-yard line. That'll be short of the 1st down.
Something puzzled me on that play, Tom. Unverfurth, true, wanted to throw. He was out there to roll. He had more or less the linebackers frozen. They didn't know he was going to run or pass. He only had 5 more yards to go for a 1st down, and he more or less accepted the fact that he would go out of bounds and let them bounce him right out of bounds. Maybe.
And they're going to go for it. They have nothing to lose right now. It's the slot to the left for the Buckeyes. Unverfurth going back to pass again, looking for Ryan, and it's knocked down there by Bill Yerby at the line of scrimmage, and will go incomplete, and Michigan will take over. There's that big play that time by Yerby. He got one of those big meat hooks up there and got that ball down before Ryan ever had a chance to catch it, Chuck.
They were going to try and pull a fast one on Michigan that time. They lined up in a formation so the tackle was eligible. In other words, he was the end man on the line. They sent him out for a pass. Unverfurth tried to hit him in a real hurry and foolish. Big Bill Yerby, putting on a tremendous rush, jumped up and batted that ball away, and it's Michigan's ball with 9 minutes and 1 second left to go in the 4th quarter.
Timberlake turning and gives off to Anthony, and he powers his way over the left side of that line. He's up to the 40-yard line of Michigan. Snowed under there by about 3 Ohio State tacklers, led by Jerry Kasunik and Bill Ritter.
He's giving it to the plays that really go. Here's Detweiler.
And this time he's pitched back to Detweiler, and he scrambles back up just about to the line of scrimmage. He was tripped up back there, first of all, by the linebacker on the left side, Steve Drepper. Bill Spar came up to help him out. But the big one, in the points total, 10-0 Michigan. In motion to the right comes Detweiler. Timberlake dropping back. He's rolling up to run. He goes to the 40, to the 45, and he's up to around the 46-yard line. It'll be shy of the 1st down. He had to go to the 48. As he picked up about 5 or 6 on that play before Ed Orizon and Tom Bugle came over there on the left side to make the stop. So that'll call for the punting situation again, and Stan Kemp checks back into that Michigan lineup.
Excited.
I think that excitement now is spread throughout the fans here, the coaching staff, the players, and certainly throughout Michigan about this time. Now we're going to get a delay of the game penalty coming up here against Michigan, as they did not get it in that 25 seconds allotted. Michigan.
All their players are sitting down. On the Michigan side of the field, they're all right on that sideline.
Kemp standing back on the Michigan 27. Low pass from center. He scoops it up and gets it away. Just gets it away. It's a good spiral. Coming back. Hits on the Ohio State 22. Goes to the 15. Goes to the 10 and drops dead right there. Boy, what a job this sophomore Stan Kemp had done for Michigan this year, and he just pulled one out of the hat there, kicking into this wind. He booted it down to the 10-yard line, a 49-yard boot from scrimmage. One of the great things I think about this Wolverine team this year has been their ability, time and time again, to come up with a big play, the key play, when it is needed. And right there, Stan Kemp just gave Michigan a tremendous advantage, as Ohio State now must run from their own 10 with 6:22 showing on the clock. Unverfurth has him up to the line of scrimmage, now calling the signals, dropping back to pass, going all the way back to the goal line, fires it right straight down the field, intended for Ryan. He caught it. He's up the open at the 35 and tripped up there on the last-second maneuver by Dick Reinfuss. And there again is the tremendous value of this boy, Dick Reinfuss, who just reached up and speared Bo Ryan at the 35. Ryan fell forward to the just shy of the 38. It'll be 1st and 10 to go for Ohio State as Unverfurth hits his 7th out of 14. Slot back position now for Ohio State on the right side. Barnett, a senior. Back to pass goes Unverfurth. Fires to the right side. It's complete over there to Bob Stock and then dropped. As Stock was diving for it on the Ohio State 45, however, as he dove, the ball squibbed away from him. It looked like he had grabbed it, but it spun out of bounds and goes as an incomplete forward pass. So that'll make it 2nd down and 10 to go. That stops the clock. with 5:29 showing on it.
Mr. Unverfurth is a very fine passer. He's underrated. If I was Woody Hayes, I'd use him more.
They've got the slot to the right, and back he goes again to pass. Dropping back to the 27, fires a long one down here, intended for Stock, and it is intercepted back there. I think it's Rick Volk. It is. The second time today, Volk has come up with a big interception. It's down on the Michigan 28-yard line, and Michigan will take over there. 1st and 10 to go. Pass thrown from the Ohio State, roughly the 27, down to the Michigan 27, and Volk got up in front of the tended receiver and grabbed it just about on the 28, fell to the turf immediately, and Michigan now takes over. 5:12 showing on the clock. They lead 10-0. That's right, a lot can happen in 5 minutes, as anybody will tell you. Timberlake this time turns and gives off again to Anthony, and he scrambles up over the left side. He's up to around the 20, or the 31, 32-yard line. Pulling him down in there. Bill Ritter and Jerry Kasulik again in on that stop. They've been in on a lot of them this afternoon for Ohio State. Clock still running, less than 5 to go. The ball shy of the 32 of Michigan, in the possession of the Wolverines. Timberlake this time splits Henderson to the left. Turns, fakes to Anthony, keeps it, rolls off the left side, pitches back, tried to pitch back to Ward, decided to hold on to it. Wisely that he did, too, as he got back to about the line of scrimmage. Tom Kefis had Timberlake pretty well contained over on that right side that time as he got it back to the line of scrimmage, and that was about all. Remain 3rd down now, and 6 to go. Timberlake sends Ward in motion to the left, turns and gives off to Anthony. Anthony stopped up at about the 33, spun away from him and started upfield, but his forward progress was stopped up at about the 33-yard line. Bill Ritter again, along with Ike Kelly in there. Little or no gain on that play. So it'll be 4th down, and Michigan will have to give up the football again. As Stan Kemp drops back to the 17 in Michigan territory. There's the snap, steps into it, gets the punt away. It's a high one coming down to the 30, rolls to the 25, and it's going to roll dead right there again as it's dropped down by Tom Cicchini down on the 25. So again, Stan Kemp on delivering one, 43 yards that time from the line of scrimmage. And you got to consider that I think the wind has gone down here a little bit, but it's still, I imagine, gusting up to around 20 miles an hour down there.
On his last 3 punts, Stan Kemp has averaged 45 yards a punt, putting one dead on their 10, here on their 25. It certainly helps to have a fine punter on your team.
And now just over 3 minutes remaining in the ball game. As Unverfurth barking out the signals, he's going to go back to pass. Fires it out. No, decides to keep and go. Goes up to the 25-yard line. He's tripped up there. Hanging on to him right there was Bill Yerby as he got over the 25 to about the 27-yard line. Unverfurth couldn't find anybody free that time and had to go.
That man, Rich Volk, had his receiver, Mr. number 80, Bob Stock, completely covered on that play. A great game for Rich Volk today.
The slot to the left for the Buckeyes. Unverfurth back to pass, standing on his own 20, fires it out to the left side. It is incomplete, intended for Bob Stock. Couldn't grab it over there. Volk came up quickly. He would have had Stock had he completed it. But it will go as an incomplete forward pass. And they'll bring it back to the 27-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 8. Of course, on the incomplete pass, the clock stopped with 2:28. And Dick Reinfuss checking out of that Michigan lineup now. And boy, what a job he's done out here this afternoon.
I talked to Volk, excuse me, I talked to Dick Reinfuss Friday before we left. His ankle, although he said it was fine, I noticed when they were working on it in the training room wasn't fine. He certainly played a gritty ball game today on that ankle, which had strained ligaments in it. Certainly a painful injury, and he played a fine game. He played every play on defense until right now.
Not only a great pass defender, but also a sure tackler. You very seldom see somebody hit Reinfuss bounce off and go for an additional yardage. Once he gets you in his sights, it's pretty certain that he's going to drop you. Dick Wells has come in to replace him now at a defensive halfback role. The entire Michigan team standing along the sidelines on the far side from us, as they are well aware right now that they are 2 minutes and 28 seconds away from a free ticket to Pasadena.
Speaking of Mr. Unverfurth, I can't recall a pass he's thrown today that didn't at least hit his receivers in the hand. A real fine passer.
And he's going back to pass again. Standing on the 35, fires it out to the right side, just overthrown over on that side. As Volk grabbed the intended receiver, Bob Stock, crowd let off a little roar, but the pass was already past Stock. And he was open game over there. So it's second down now with 2:18 showing on the clock. The ball resting on the 43 of Ohio State in the possession of the Buckeyes. Unverfurth now has attempted 19 passes, and he has hit on 7. 2 key interceptions today by Rick Volk. It's the slot to the right this time for the Buckeyes. Unverfurth dropping back to pass. Fires it straight down the field, and this time it is broken up down on the 35-yard line. Again, Bo Ryan, the intended receiver. And Seeger back there to do the defending that time. And, of course, we'll mention it again. We have before, and I think Chuck mentioned it, that Ryan and Seeger were teammates in high school, and they're out here opposing each other this afternoon in key situations.
And he just wanted to do the best job possible on Bo Ryan, even shut him out if possible.
Ryan only a sophomore, as Unverfurth is going back to pass again. Fires a long, long pass intended for Stock, and it is broken up by Dick Wells down on the 20-yard line. Seeger also back there covering on it, along with Rick Volk. Bob Stock, the intended receiver, down on the Michigan 20. The pass broken up. They'll bring it back to the 43. Have to pick up the first down here, or give it over to Michigan in their own territory. There goes Unverfurth back to pass again, rolling to the right. Fires it up to the right side, and it is broken up back there by Volk. He had it. It was overthrown, intended for Ryan. Volk had it, but he wisely just let it fall to the turf, as they'll bring it back now in Michigan's possession on the 43 of Ohio State. Less than 2 minutes to go, Chuck.
There's 1 minute and 50 seconds left to go in this game. We're almost there to Pasadena. The crowd is really, the Michigan crowd, I should say, lined the field about 3 or 4 deep. The hardy souls that brave this weather and the long, hard drive down here to see this game. I'm sure are going to rush on this field afterwards.
The flag is dropped on the 40-yard line. And the signal we get is a personal foul call against Ohio State. And here's the walk-off down to the 25-yard line. I think John Henderson was hampered a little bit there at the line of scrimmage. And also a little extracurricular activity, you might say, occurred to break Bob Chapia's single-season record. In motion to the left goes Ward. 1st and 10 for Michigan on the 25. Timberlake rolling down the line to the left side, and he is hit for a loss back on the 29 by Bill Spar, the defensive left end for Ohio State. Timberlake that time rolling to the left, and he was dropped for a 4-yard loss back on the 29 of Ohio State. Timberlake calling out the signals, turns and gives off to Anthony. He's got a hole over the left side, and he's down to the 25-yard line. That was the original line of scrimmage. Tom Kivas in there on the stop for Ohio State. So they'll place it on the 25. It'll be 3rd down and 10. A minute 2, a minute 1. 1 minute, 60 seconds to go now as the clock's still running.
There are now 56 seconds left to go in this game. This is a moment a lot of Michigan fans, and I'm sure Tom Hemingway has waited for a long time. I might add 1 point right here, that the team will be flying back to Willow Run Airport. Will arrive there at 5:40 Ann Arbor time up in Willow Run. We'd like to see all the fans out there to see that team.
On the snap from quarterback to the quarterback, Timberlake this time, I believe the offensive left tackle on Michigan jumped offside, and it's going to be a 5-yard walk-off against Michigan. We're going to pause briefly right now for station identification. This is the University of Michigan Broadcasting Service. As Timberlake puts his head down and drives again, and he's down back to the 25-yard line. That's where most of the action here in this last 1 minute has occurred, as the clock running less than 30 seconds now. Just depending on how many plays Michigan will get off here now, and they are in no hurry.
One thing, you've got to credit this fine Ohio State team. So far in the game, we have unofficially gained 120 yards on the ground against our nation-leading 229 yards per game average. A lot of credit's got to go to Ohio State football team.
They're counting off the time. The Michigan team along with him. 1 second, and that's it. That's the ball game. And Michigan, for the first time since 1950, come onto the football field as the champions of the Big Ten. And Bump Elliott coming out there onto the field along with the entire Michigan coaching staff with, I imagine, probably the widest ear-splitting grins that you will ever see on a particular coaching staff right now. And there's a mighty hilarious bunch of Michigan players down on the turf of Ohio Stadium. The Michigan football team has now gone into the dressing room, and they go in there as the champions of the Big Ten in 1964, the first time in 14 years that you can make this statement.